I'm Eric Russell. I'm out and about at Richmond Triangle Players' new production of Two Boys in a Bed on a Cold Winter's Night. How are y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Not too cold.
Not too cold.
Luckily. We're to bed though. Mm-hmm.
Now we both have two Nicks here. Let's differentiate which Nick is which Nick. You are.
I am Nicholas Wilder. And
you are.
Not.
No.
I am Nick Baldock. Not Baldock. It's been a long evening. Sorry. Baldock.
Baldock.
B-A-L-D-O-C-K.
He knows his name, yeah, right?
What's his name?
Baldock. Doc.
And you guys played Peter and Daryl.
Mm-hmm.
Now the set is 1987, and you guys have met, come home from the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that evening and your characters. Let's talk about Peter.
I play Peter, obviously, who picks up Daryl at a bar, and we go back to Daryl's apartment afterwards. And it's sort of just, I guess in Peter's eyes, more of a random hookup, and I think Daryl reads more into it, but Peter's just really looking for a good time throughout the whole show, and conflict arises.
Yes.
Yeah.
As they say.
What's Daryl's perspective on this? Pete's out for a good time. Daryl's looking for.
I figure in Daryl's life, random hookups are always potentially the start of the one great relationship. And at some point, he's going to be disabused of this.
Because your performance, I enjoyed it and was just captivated the entire time. For these between the two people, because it has these peaks and these valleys. I first saw Peter as this very, this is just a trick, and kind of come in, do my thing, I'm going to leave. And Daryl as this very innocent, oh, why aren't you staying? And as the night goes on, we start to see different sides of your characters. When you were creating Peter and Daryl, what did y'all pull in to create them?
You start this one first.
Let's talk about Daryl and his little...
That actually never struck me, that Daryl first comes across as innocent, because we know the whole script. But to the audience, he may well. It's not... If it's an innocence, it's very sort of willed innocence. Ignorance rather than innocence, I would suspect. What did I pull from? In the most general terms possible, my bits of my life, which I know is very vague, and like a basic answer for any actor, not very helpful. But any more specific would be, I think, bringing in innocent people who do not need to be named on this website.
Mm-hmm. You know who you are.
Yes, you do.
Well, they may not. That's what we're
okay.
Out.
And Peter we discovered really has this softer side to him.
Yes, I like to think that he's a little deeper than sort of we first see him. That you see him sort of just like this basic, I don't want to say like manly man, but he's sort of very on the surface, and you don't think that there's many sort of layers to him. But
my first note on him was short-sighted and just kind of shallow, because he seems to jump from job to job.
I think that's very true, and hopefully, that you see some sort of softer, more sensitive sides throughout later on, so it's not just one-dimensional. I think, hopefully, you do.
not literally short-sighted.
Yeah.
Like he must be, or else he wouldn't go in with Daryl. That's not what you're
right.
getting at.
But very like career-wise.
He's just very
kind of like,
for the moment.
well, I just
go
moved
with the
this
flow.
thing, and I had this job, and I moved this thing, and I don't care about long-term anything's just.
He seems very on the surface and very just what you see is what you get. But I hopefully have made him a little.
You have, darling. You've layered him beautifully.
Thank you.
It's good layering, layering several times that night. Now, even though this is set in 1987, and for some of us that was in the past. Really, for some of us, way in the past. This evening could be very modern. This could be something that happens like every night.
It almost certainly is.
I think this story transcends time. That this is two people just meeting and trying to connect is gonna happen forever and is timeless.
Yeah, and working on it, and we're talking totally cross purposes.
Yeah,
certainly.
Because they start off just as a night of sex, and then it turns into this. What do you do? And those ups and downs. We've probably all been there at some point, going, "Oh yeah, I had that night."
Yeah, it's the what do you do after the fun part?
Right.
Yeah, what do you do now when you
it's
wake up?
in the morning, like okay.
Yeah.
What do you want audiences to take away from this experience? I mean, this is a very emotional show where people are just really invested into these two characters for the evening?
I hope they just really can relate and well, maybe not relate literally, but I hope they can identify or see something in these characters and really just hopefully like the show. On the simplest level, I hope they enjoy it, but I hope also that they're maybe changed a little in some way, even if it's the smallest thing. I don't know.
You all hope people come see the show and they feel like I haven't wasted their time, at least. But like Nick was saying, we hope that, and it's not to oversimplify things, it's not simply a, quote, gay play, unquote. So any person, I think, who's ever had a night like this can come and see it and go, oh yeah, ooh, those are two believable, recognizable people. Pretty much, they can go home and tell their friends and go, yeah, that was a good show.
What is something you learned about your own self in developing Peter as a character?
I'm not sure if I learned anything about myself. You go first, and I'll think of something by the time you go.
I learned about you.
No, what did you learn about you?
What did you learn about Daryl?
Yeah.
What did I learn about Daryl? Or did I learn about...
Well, in developing Daryl as a character, what did you learn about yourself? Maybe pull out some of those moments.
I can say that I went outside my comfort zone in some ways, and maybe I learned that I'm willing to go further. For instance, like the nudity. I don't think I've ever been fully nude on stage, and it was something that at first was, I think, hard or was a challenge, and then I sort of pushed through it, and now it seems okay. So I think it's broken me out of sort of a little bit of a shell, at least.
Because at that point, you're really vulnerable to the entire audience.
Yes, you feel very vulnerable emotionally and physically because you're nude.
Yeah, it's exposure. Well, usually I think of something else entirely. I'm still struggling with this question. You can talk.
Yes.
We deal with vulnerable because these big characters are vulnerable.
Yeah.
You're having a moment in a night with a perfect stranger that you let into your home to have a very intimate moment. So you're letting all your guards
I think
down.
in some ways, because they are strangers, it's easier to let your guard down because when you're talking to a friend, there's always the fear that they may judge you. But if it's a stranger, you can be like, you know what? I get sad all the time, and there's going to be no judgment because they don't know you. It's just you can really tell them anything, which sort of happens.
Yes. It does in my life, don't know about yours.
Yeah.
Chatting to one of my friends online who made the really obvious joke, which has been made to you, that this has to be a balls out performance. But taking that, things you learn about yourself. Yeah, this is dragging out parts of my life that were not probably good ideas at the time. But, you sit there and you think about it and go, oh yeah, that reminds me of X, Y, and Z. And in some way, maybe I should think better about what I do with A, B, and C, or go back and revisit X, Y, and Z, and not get into these kind of positions.
That brings
Emotional positions.
Right, those emotional positions going, yeah.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have any of the fun of the play if you didn't get into these positions.
No, that's right.
Yeah,
That's true.
And then where would we be?
Where would we be?
Maybe out of a job back in.
Truly. What would you say to anybody who's going into acting or... Yeah, I know.
I guess don't go. The usual advice is if there's anything else you can do, don't. But I would say if someone truly wanted to do it, don't let anyone stop you. I mean, there's a million reasons not to, but to me it's the most fulfilling, rewarding job I've ever had or could dream of, and it brings me a level of happiness that I couldn't dream. So I would guess just don't be put off by the scariness and of it.
If I get my 2 minutes. Yeah, everything he said, and to know there are, to quote from 9 and 60 ways of constructing tribal layers, and every single one of them is right. But there isn't one path. Be as absorbent as possible. There are any number of ways of doing things. Look out for opportunities.
Yes, there's
read
always
a lot.
There's theater everywhere in the country. There's community theaters in every single city,
and you never know what.
And you can always get started somewhere. So if you really want to do it, you can find some place to do it if you just Google theaters in your town.
And you never know what
Yes.
might. You just say yes to things. Because goodness knows there'll be enough people saying no to you, so say yes to things.
Yeah.
And always remember, Robert Preston was 13th choice for the Music Man.
There's
You
some...
never know when your opportunity might arise.
Everybody just thinks people the first choice. No, there's like the second and
No.
third choice. They
Yeah.
happen to be on that.
Yeah, pretty much. So you never know.
If people want to find out more about either one of you, Nicks, you have Facebook, Twitter, you know.
I have a website,
There we
which
go.
is nicholaswilder.com, and you can read about me there.
Having website is on my list of things to do.
Oh, okay.
2012.
2012.
2012,
We have
yeah.
some-
Wesley, build a website. Okay, get a Facebook page.
That
okay.
is, it will be nickbaldock.com, I assume.
It won't be nicholaswilder.com. That's
No, no,
Facebook.
no, no,
That
no.
means, yeah, it's gone.
You
We
could
could
take
link
dot
to each
net.
other. We
or
could.
Dot,
Dot
yeah,
gov.
dot
.edu.
.edu.
Dot edu.
Yeah, I don't have a website. I do have Facebook, though.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. He's on Facebook.
Oh,
Friend
I think
him.
I'm very difficult to find.
Why is that?
There is a good reason for that.
Oh.
Because I used to work at a high school back home.
Oh,
So my privacy levels are very, very high.
okay.
So how do you, I don't know. If you want to find me, you will.
You will. You'll be able to tag this video and find him later.
Yes,
There
there'll
we
be
go.
ways
He'll be
to
at
do
Richmond
this.
Triangle Players through at
Yes,
least February
that's
4th. Guys, you have a fantastic show here that you put together with great help from
Oh, well, the director
Justin
has a lot
and
to do with
everyone
that.
else.
Justin,
Hey,
our
Richmond
faithful
Triangle
director.
Players.
That we put up very quickly, thanks to him.
Yes.
You had like almost a week.
Week,
A
yeah.
week.
A week is what
Yeah.
we've had.
Is it Tuesday? A week, 7 days.
Yes, it's Tuesday.
Oh, God, man.
We lose track of days. We've been in this bed for 7 days.
There you go. There's a record for you. 7 days in this bed.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, thank you once again. This has been absolutely fantastic. The show is Two Boys in a Bed on a Cold Winter's Night here at Richmond Triangle Players. You can get tickets at rtriangle.org, and the show does run through February 4th. Well, I've been Eric Rusell, and I am out and about with the two Nicks, Nicholas Wilder and Nicholas Baldock. And they're in the Two Boys in a Bed on a Cold Winter's Night playing here at Richmond Triangle Players. You never know where I will turn up next, so tune in to find out. See ya.